Sure. So I started working in a studio, actually in Reading, Pennsylvania, probably, I want to say it was close to 10 years ago. And they had a Lynx converter there, and I didn't know a ton about them, but I just knew that we used one there, and it sounded freaking incredible. And I remember like A being, I believe it was some sort of Focusrite interface that I had, and comparing it to it, and was like, whoa, this is such a crazy difference. And I just always remembered wanting to have one with me at all times, and so I've always been a big fan of the product. My current clients, Little Dirk is obviously my main one, Coil Ray. I'm primarily focusing on hip hop just because hip hop is a very niche market that I've just seemed to have kind of found a need for my assistance and helping clean things up and hiring and improving the production standards. So it's just something that I really enjoy. I do enjoy the music as well. But I also do work with some EDM artists, and so I just love crossing worlds and introducing new technology to new camps, and seeing how we can improve everything. I mean, from playback to audio quality to what the stage looks like. So it's really exciting and fun. So let's talk in the realm of playback. So we background with me, I'm a live sound engineer. I've been a live sound engineer. Now I kind of serve the role of a production manager / tour manager. And so in the live world, as we upgrade so many components, obviously your weakest link is kind of sometimes the source, whether that's the actual person playing the music or the microphones or the preamps or whatever it is, right? So the goal is to have the highest quality of audio from start to finish. And so for us, we were using a very simple and easy to use audio interface for playback, because the simplicity and how great and easy they are to use, having the ability to do redundancy via two computers. If one computer goes down, it switches over to the other one. And we're like, man, this is really cool, but we just wish it sounded better. So myself and some other engineers and people in the industry were like, how can we create a beefed up version of this? So now we're like, okay, let's think DANTE. What DANTE converters can we implement that sound freaking awesome? So the our first go-to, because of versatility at the time, was the Ferrofish A32, and we start using it, and it was great. It really was. But I was like, I'm very curious to hear what the Aurora sounds like next to a Ferrofish. And we got the opportunity to A/B it. And when we did, holy crap. It was like I took a blanket off of my subwoofers. Like, it just opened up this new realm of dynamics and just overall clarity, running everything the same way. And we're like, how was this missing before? Like, truthfully, how was this, like, how did we not have this prior to, and like, how did we just now just make this discovery? And like, personally, like, I've always put nothing against the Ferrofish. It's an incredible converter, but I've always had it so high on a pedestal. And then here comes the Aura, like, move out of the way. Yeah, so again, in our live world, in our realm of how we're using this, we AB'd the AES to the analog, and like obviously not because of the Aurora specifically, but because of the pre's and the consoles and the things that we're doing, we play with it daily. It's like, let's listen to the AES today. Like, what are we feeling today? Let's listen to the analog. And the only reason we're listening to the analog is because of the pre's and the console, not because of the converter itself. Because listening to the converter itself, like straight into an analog console into some speakers, you would never know the difference. And that speaks wonders. Like, it's really quite incredible. When you can't tell the difference between the digital signal chain and how clean the analog is. We've created this little playback rig, and it all fits into one unit, one flyable unit that we travel with everywhere at this point. It's at every single one of our shows for multiple different artists. And I'm looking to build, a few more of these because we're always using them. It's always good to have a backup. Dirk, which is who we currently just have this playback rig out with, he hears it like audibly. We went from using the play audio and then the Ferrofish to what we're doing now. I remember him coming over at the first show, like, how did everything just get cleaned up? Like, he's like, I used to hear so much distortion. It's like, it's not there anymore. What changed? And I was just like, that right there, that one piece of equipment right there changed it all. We just overdo everything. We have to have, so we use Digico audio consoles, and we have to have the 32-bit input cards. We have to have the 32-bit output cards. We have to have a certain version of a console. Like, it's very, very particular on everything, how we do it and why we're doing it, to achieve a certain, I just have a very high expectation of, production standards. So, for an example, we came off of this tour, and the same week we came off of the tour, we walked into a festival that had different equipment. And it was a disaster. A complete disaster in audio. Like, Dirk turns around like, why does it sound like this? This sounds like crap. Like, the second he walks on stage, he's looking at us like, what is going on right now? And we've spoiled him. Like, we've set such a high production standard, and he's looking at us like, why does it sound so crazy right now? Like, and I'm like, it's not our gear. It's not what we normally have. He's like, this can't ever happen again. So now, it's got expensive taste, so now we walk into these shows and I have to have our package everywhere we go, or else it's a problem. We went with DANTE for obviously a specific reason, because we needed to interface with another piece of gear that was DANTE. DANTE is an incredible protocol. It's just seamless audio routing and conversion. It's quite awesome. The reason that we went with DANTE for the specific piece was because we needed to interface with that secondary piece. With that being said, I'm looking to build essentially the exact same rig with the Thunderbolt option. And the reason for the Thunderbolt option actually is to reduce latency. The one thing with using the DANTE protocol for the way we're using it is that we do have some latency induced, but the next thing that we're looking to do with the Lynx converter is actually process vocals. The other way that we thought about building this rig for latency matrices was to use two of the Auroras and just have one for A computer and one for B computer, and then use radial mix switchers. I mean, there's other ways of doing the switching, but when it comes to size and weight and all of those things, as we start to fly with these things, it made most sense to just carry one, carry a smaller piece of gear on top of obviously the protocol to interface with their computers. We went with the 16 analog I/O and the 16 AES I/O, which was which is phenomenal. You know, it's it was very impressive when I took it out of the box. I'm like, whoa, you know, I'm able to fit this all into a Pelican. It's a 1610, I believe it is, and it fits perfectly into my rack, and I can fly with it everywhere. It's under 50 pounds. Like it's amazing. That's including my laptops, including everything. It just fits into one Pelican. It's pretty awesome. We had a custom rack made for it with trays for your laptop and just everything. It's a really, really cool setup. I grew up in good old Lidditz, Pennsylvania. So, and for anyone who knows anything about audio, it is the home of Claire. And so I grew up actually DJing and then doing some studio work, and then I actually had some neighbors who, and people I knew in the community who worked for Claire, and I had I was very blessed in being able to talk to these people, and some of these people mentor me in the business. I, at a young age, had the opportunity of going out on the road with the Eagles, and being 14 years old and, you know, being able to see all this stuff go up. And I was, 16 and had a large format mixing console in my basement, and I'm sitting here playing with just all different types of gear. I just learned quickly, and I learned on the analog way, which is not the way that a lot of people learn this day and age. So yeah, I mean, I've worked on a ton of projects with a ton of different artists, from country to hip hop to rock and roll. I mean, name it. Worked for tons of festivals as both the tech and as the production manager, and now tour manager.